Hello everyone, it's Finance Eddie here, and today we're talking about Ethereum because Ethereum just hit a new all-time high. So let's see if Ethereum is going to take us to the moon or down into the depths of... Let me turn this around. So, as you can see here, we have a chart starting from around 2017 here, all the way up to present day, and we hit an all-time high back in around 2018, in December 2017, January 2018. You should all remember that. That's when the previous cryptocurrency craze peaked, and now we just hit a new one, around 15, 30, 40-ish US dollars per Ether, and that was hit literally today. So let's talk about it. What's driving this? And what are some of the price predictions? So before I talk about what's driving this, I'm going to give you guys the stuff that you're most interested in immediately. So let's just dive right into the price targets. So if I switch here now to TradingView and I show you guys the graph. So as you can see here, I've drawn a pattern. And the thing about this pattern is that it's one of the most significant patterns we've had all year regarding any cryptocurrency at all. So as you can see, this pattern started literally on the first day of January 2021, literally 1st of January 2021, and has continued all the way into the present day. That means it's a pattern now of 2 full months forming, so it's very, very significant. So let me see what we have here. We have pretty much a rising wedge, which is usually a bearish pattern. So we would expect to see a breakdown down, in which case, let me show you guys here a quick price target. So let me be conservative and take the one here because I've got another triangle. I'll tell you why I take it from here in a second, but let's just, draw a little line here from the top to the bottom of the pattern. And so the line has been drawn, and let's just move that out. I don't know, where do we expect it to break out? Somewhere around here. So if it breaks down, we've got a new price target around 1,200. Focus, you can do it. 1,200-ish. Right, and if it breaks up, we're going to have a new price target of around, see, I have to zoom out to actually show you guys, 2,050. So that would be a new all-time high by another 25%, which is a huge upside. But let me tell you what we would need to see for either of these price scenarios to actually happen and what the significance is of this other little pattern that I have here. So let me draw then another line so that you guys can see very clearly what I'm talking about. So if I draw, pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to draw over this orange line to show you guys how significant this line is as well. You see here that we had another pattern forming, which was, again, rising wedge, but, it was closer to symmetrical triangle. And that's why I actually took the price target from here, because this is where the second pattern was also forming and overlapping. And to be the safest, I'm always going to take the most conservative approach. So if I can take a price target from 2 patterns versus a price target from just 1 pattern, then I'm definitely going to do that. Now, what would need to happen for these price targets to actually manifest, right? We have a new one at around 2,050, and we had another one around, what was it? Let me move this back down. Around 1,200, 1,200-ish, right? 1,200-ish there. So what would need to happen? Well, we would basically need to see this pattern continue for a little bit, which most likely it will. And then we either need it to break down. So then we would see something like this. It would go down, it would retest, and then it would go back down to where it was testing. And then only we would trade. So you probably wouldn't be able to say this pattern was confirmed until around the 1,400 level mark, which is pretty late. And on the flip side, towards the upside, if it's breaking out around here, you would need to see it go up, right? Let's say it tests up to here, goes back down, confirms the previous test, and then, only then, you would be able to say, okay, this pattern is confirmed and we're going out. And don't forget, we're also always waiting to see a spike in volume, right? This would be a spike in volume. And that's basically how I come up with these price targets. And right now, we have no idea what's going to happen. This circle here is probably being tested or invalidated. So I feel like the orange lines and as well the orange lines have more touch points. Basically, the orange pattern is going to be the dominant one here. And since they have pretty much the same price target anyway, that's not an issue at all. But just be aware that soon this blue pattern is ending. And that's why as well, I'm not surprised that we see a bit more volatility here. if you're looking on the case of the blue pattern, and I believe that this pattern is being slowly invalidated. Now, if you zoom in here, you're going to see that it touched pretty much perfectly this line and then goes back down, and we're going to see it go back down would be my prediction throughout the rest of the day. So let me just zoom in for you right here. Let me switch to the 15-minute candles. And as you can see here, we went up, we went up, we went up, we touched it, and now it's going back down. And we should expect that trend to continue. So that's my price target for Ethereum. And if we look here then and we go out and we go into the bigger picture, I'm going to tell you guys the fundamentals of why we're seeing this type of price move. So basically, right, what I've drawn here goes all the way back to, when is this? August 2018. So this is pretty much a 3-year pattern. And this is the Ethereum to Bitcoin price chart, right? So we're basically comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin instead of Ethereum to the US dollars, and using Bitcoin as like the peg to see if Ethereum is strengthening, so being more valuable than Bitcoin, or weakening to Bitcoin, so being less valuable than Bitcoin. And right now, for a long time, it was pretty much weakening compared to Bitcoin. And right now, we've broken a 3-year cycle of it being pretty much stable here, slightly weak, and we start to see it strengthening very hard. And this pattern has already been confirmed. As you see here, the breakout has a pretty high volume. If you just look over here in general, pretty high volume compared to any other such area on the chart. And if I were to zoom in here, which I of course will do for you guys, you see as well that the pattern has been confirmed already, right? We broke out, we touched back down, and we're going back up, and now we're actually testing the previous level. So if this continues a little bit higher, then you can pretty much confirm that, yeah, this pattern is actually happening. And actually, this is the second confirmation. If I switch here now to the 15 minutes, actually that might have been too much. Let me switch back to the, I don't know, let's say 4 hourly. Yeah, on the 4 hourly, you can see it really well. We actually had a breakout here already. We already confirmed it here, and we broke out. So now we're just having another secondary confirmation. And at this point, you can be very sure that Ethereum is going to keep strengthening against Bitcoin. Granted that nothing fundamental were to change, but that's a big risk nowadays, because fundamentally things are changing a lot in the entire cryptocurrency realm. So let me go back out, let me give you some price targets, but don't pay too much attention to these for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, because these patterns are pretty loose patterns, I'm not going to lie. There's not that many touch points here. I wouldn't be too certain on these guys. So let me switch out. Where was I? On the weeklies, maybe? That's going to be too far out. Maybe the dailies? Dailies are good. So if we take then a conservative price estimate of, let's say, this orange one, pink one I meant, pink. And let me just draw here a new line for you guys from around here to around here. You always want to take it to like the shortest line compared to the point of the triangle, right? I'm not going to compare it here and like extrapolate out. I want to see where the trend line is forming and then take it from like the start of the other leg of the triangle, let's call it. So this price target is here, and you can see that it's slightly lower than if I were to take it from here. So I'm always going to try to be more conservative, and we'll just go with that one. Plus, when you have such big ranges, you're going to have to care a lot more about like resistance levels. But okay, let's not get into that right now. I'm just going to give you an approximate target. So let's say this breakout has been confirmed. If we go up like a little bit more, at that point I would say it's confirmed. So let's just go with that. Then I would be predicting a price target of around 0.5-ish, almost exactly, Ethereums per Bitcoin, which would be about still a 25% upside. And now if we looked as well on the Ethereum to USD chart, remember the price targets I gave you as well were about a 25% upside. So let's go back to the 1 hourlies. That was as well about a 25% upside or downside, right? So now let's get into why this is happening. So why is Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin so hard? On this red line, you see Bitcoin, and on the black line, you see Ethereum. Now, one thing that you need to know is that the altcoins tend to be a bit more volatile than Bitcoin, right? So just because we see Ethereum slowly spiking up now, it could also drop. Well, maybe not Ethereum, other altcoins more, but it could just drop 50% and then stay there. While Bitcoin, you probably won't see such huge valuation changes anymore. So I've got Paint open here and we're going back to Economics 101. So if you've ever taken an economics course in your life, you'll know what this graph is, right? We've got price, we've got quantity, we've got supply, we've got demand. Now, basically, I want to show you two things. When demand rises, so that's this line here, for any given quantity along the graph, you're going to see the price, right? Let's say you were to draw like, where's the brush? Give me a brush. If you were to draw like a dotted line here and you're like, okay, for this quantity, I want to know what the given price will be. Well, it's going to be here. But then if you increase the demand for a product, right, you draw the line higher, then when you redraw it, for the same given quantity right here, the price has gone up, right? So if you increase demand, price goes up. Now let's see what happens when you do it with supply. Let me take another color here. Let's go with yellow. You guys like yellow? It's the color of the sun. Okay, so there you go. You have a beautiful sun there. Now, if we talk about supply, whenever you decrease supply, the price also goes up. So let me draw another dotted line here, right? We take the initial example, that's more hard to see. Okay, and we go down here, like let's say you're talking about this quantity now, and you've got this supply, and then you restrict the supply. So let's draw another supply line here, and for the same given quantity, look what happens to the price. It goes from here all the way up to here, just by restricting supply. So if demand rises, the price goes up. If supply constricts, the price goes up too. And which one do we have right now? Well, the one that's dominating right now is actually the supply graph. So let me show you this chart here. And what this chart shows you is basically the amount of Ether that's being held on exchanges versus people holding them in their wallets. And that is this, what color is that? Orange, reddish line here versus the price of Ether, which is this black line here. So as you can see over time, the amount of people who have coins on exchanges is actually going down. And that means that people are withdrawing the coins and storing them in their wallets. Now, what's the difference between having something on a wallet or an exchange? Basically, on an exchange, you can exchange your cryptocurrencies for fiat currency. So you can exchange it to US dollars, euros, whatever currency you want. But in your wallet, they're literally just stuck there as like ethers in your wallet, hidden away from the world until you want to, interact with another Ethereum wallet, for example, then you can send it to another Ethereum wallet. But that's the only use case. So basically, if you put them in your wallet, you don't plan on exchanging them to currency anytime soon. And it means that the supply on the market actually gets reduced, right? So if you had a high supply of Ethereum available on the market during this time and you drop the supply all the way down to here, well, that's going to cause a price to increase, right? And that's exactly what you see here, what this line here, right? As the Ethereum was taken off the market, more and more the price started rising, and we can expect to see that more. So let me find this other graph here where you can see the targets a bit more, right? So we started here in the beginning of 2019 with about 2,650 Bitcoins in circulation, right? I'm just going to show you now that the same thing is happening for Bitcoin. So the same thing is happening to Bitcoin. So I'm just reiterating what I just said for Ethereum. So just pretend I'm saying Ethereum and the same points stand. So what you see here is we started at like 2,650 Bitcoins. It rose up a little bit. And as you can see here, the price went kind of sideways, even a little bit down at the peak here, right? Because there was more supply of Bitcoin. But as the whales and the institutions started buying in the beginning of this year, and as well, I'm sure most of them were buying a couple months ago too, before they announced it in the news, you see that the supply starts to constrict and the price almost immediately, with a small delay, but almost immediately starts to reflect that as well. So don't be fooled by the graph here. It's gone from 2,650 in circulation down to about 2,400 in circulation. Now you might ask me like, oh, hey, but how come this line here wasn't matching here? Well, what happened there was just that the demand went up, right? So just ignore this part of the graph. And there you can see basically what the effect of the supply constraint has been. So that's what you need to know about Ethereum right now. I'm not going to get into what the miners are doing, what exactly Ethereum is, because it's not important for you guys right now. I'll make another video about that in a moment. If you're curious about how people are earning money on Ethereum, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe for another video, and let me know in the comments down below if that's something interesting for you. As you can see here, miners earned a record $830 million in January. Now, how do they do that? Well, one, by actually just mining the Ethereums and like, hey, we have a new Ethereum. How much is that worth? Oh, great. That's a lot of money. They also get money every time an Ethereum is transacted over the network because they're the ones, processing that, and they get paid based on that. And that's basically the two ways that miners make money. But what's interesting about this, and this is the last thing I'm going to tell you, this is just a preview in case you want to see more Ethereum videos, is how much they make from the actual mining. As you see here, at the beginning of 2018, when the price was at its all-time high, it was pretty insane. I think this is in millions of dollars. It's 750, and now it went way down. It went down to like 50 million at some point. It's all the way back up today to, what was the number they gave? 830 million in revenue. And what you see here as well is how much of that is network fees. So what they make from actually processing things on the network, and the block subsidies, which I assume is them earning ethers. And as you can see here, because more and more ethers are being mined, and there's less actually, because ether also has a finite supply, right? So the more you mine, the less you're going to get over time. That nowadays, actually, the biggest chunk of the money that they're receiving is from network fees, as opposed to actually like mining the cryptocurrency and getting ethers as a reward for that. What they're getting now is mostly just like network processing revenue. So that's what you guys need to know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit that bell button if you haven't already, and see you in the next one. Bye.